Waiting on you.
Did you start?
Yeah, I started.
You can always turn.
Let's get ready to rumble! Now, maybe not, but what we are going to look at is two of the greatest leaders of all time. Which one has the best leadership style? Why is this important? Why should we choose one over the other? Who is this guy talking to me and telling me what I should choose? I guess before we get started, I'll tell you that. My name is Al Phillips. For the last 28 years, I've been in industrial manufacturing. Started out sweeping floors, made it all the way to executive level positions in certain companies. Now, things change, times get tougher, and you take the positions that you can take, but in each one you try to be the best leader that you can be. And these two guys right here are the basis of it, of probably the most used leadership styles. So why is that important? Well, basically today in our management, there is a lack of understanding of what a leader means. And some of that is because you get companies hire engineers, for example, to lead. An engineer didn't go to school to lead. He takes the job because he wants the money. But he comes in and he's got all of these acronyms, and he's got all these charts, and he's got all these things that the average person doesn't really understand, and they try to run the business based on all of these things without really ever communicating with the people below them. And on top of that, we live in a time where there's not a lot of spiritual guidance, so understanding, guys like Moses and Jesus, and what they did to lead people is very important. So let's dive right in. We'll talk about Moses, right? So Moses sounds a lot like those engineer guys, right? He was highly educated. He was taught to lead, but he was taught to lead like in the military sense. He was the adopted son of the Pharaoh's daughter. So all of his education was geared more towards leading an army than it was leading, people as the person who guided them through life. On top of that, Moses could read and write. The Jews at that time could not. So, think for example, this picture right here. He's coming down with the 10 Commandments, and they're on written tablets. And those people, they've got no idea what that is. They could care less, And because of that, Moses, like the engineers of today that don't understand leadership, he got upset. Breaks the 10 Commandments, and they got to start all over and rewrite them and do all these things. One of the other things that Moses did is towards the end of his run, he appointed his successor, and somebody who's an autocrat appoints their successor, not somebody who's part of a team, I guess. So he was definitely a ruler and not just a leader. On the other side of that, though, you had Jesus, 2,000 years later, 1,500, 2,000 years. He was uneducated, other than his religious knowledge. Had a one-of-us mentality. He was from the people, for the people, and only cared about the people. He communicated through his speech, and it was easy to understand. He spoke from his heart. He basically told people what they needed to do and why they needed to do it. And he was seen more of as a teacher. And then towards the end, he anointed his apostles to carry on his work. He didn't just appoint somebody to take over and be the new Jesus. So when you're looking at different styles of leadership, you've got this autocratic guy, who goes up on the mountain guy who goes up on the mountain and brings the people with him and teaches them on the mountain. You know, so when you're thinking about what type of leader you would want to be, you know, to me, the choice is obvious. You're going to want to be, you know, somebody who's one of the people, a teacher, respected for what you know, and loved for what you know, and people want to be like you because of that. Now, how does this benefit you? You know, well, you know, if you understand how to communicate with people in a way that they understand, you know, this is a huge tool as a leader. You know, people tend to follow people they can relate to. You know, and when you lead in a positive way, I mean, obviously, if you're emulating Christ, you know, in the way that you lead, you know, that's going to be very fulfilling for you over the long haul. And it gives you the opportunity to share your leadership throughout. So, in my perspective, Jesus is the better leader. You know, if you're looking at stats, Moses moved a nation. Jesus moved the whole world. You know, one of the most dominant religions of all time is based on the life and teachings of Jesus. You know, and he had one simple rule, and that wraps up, you know, what he meant as a leader. And that is, so in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law of the Bible. So, you know, in closing, I would choose Jesus and say that Jesus is the better leader. You know, nothing against Moses. Good guy. He figured it out towards the end anyway. But Jesus is the guy. As long as you follow Jesus, you're going to be in good shape.